Hi everyone, I'm Michelle from Vitality Reconnected. Each week I share tips and information with you to help you reconnect with your inner vitality. This week we're continuing on with our long-term series on women's body image. Today I have a fantastic interview for you with the effervescent Troy Casey. Now Troy is known as the certified health nut, and he's got some pretty strong messages to share that really takes things a lot bigger than the average person might have considered. Because let's face it, body image goes much deeper when you do more than just scratch the surface. So let's get straight into Troy's interview.
Okay. Hi, I'm Troy Casey, the certified health nut. I'll be 50 this year, and the significant women in my life. I'm the certified health nut, which is my own holistic lifestyle brand. I'm an advocate for personal and planetary wellness. I worked in the Amazon for 10 years with plant medicine and saw our direct symbiotic relationship with the environment. And so I'm a huge proponent of exactly healthy me equals a healthy planet. The as above, so below, the microcosm is connected to the macrocosm. And so that's an essence of what I do. And the important women in my life are my wife and my 4-year-old daughter. Those are the primary ones. And then, of course, my mother. And so I feel that the world is out of balance on many levels. And if you look at the divine forces, the masculine, feminine, yin, yang opposites that we experience here on Earth, you see basically we have a out of balance masculine component. Okay, so what comes to me right off the bat there is really just the dysfunction that we see in the world today. It's a direct reflection of where the collective consciousness is at. So I was a model in the fashion industry for many years. I had a lot of success, and that industry is very dysfunctional at its core. Its facade is very glamorous, but at its core is massive amounts of just big-time dysfunction from all the homosexual predator elements that are in that, as well as the heterosexual predator elements, and the manipulation, control, and exploitation. And I don't play victim at all. It was just a weird industry to be in, especially when you have some form of integrity going into it, and then you just realize that, oh my God, there's nothing you can really put your foot on, your hand on. You can't really grasp it. And so it was just high levels of dysfunction. And the more willing you are to play those dysfunctional games, sometimes it gives you the ability to climb up the ladder, of course, until some of those dysfunctional people are simply tired with you. Mm-hmm. And so, in saying that, we have to remember that media has taken a huge charge on human consciousness for the 20th century and for the last 15 years of the 21st century. Public relations was developed by Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays, and they used all of the psychological developments that Edward Bernays had figured out for economic and political campaigns to manipulate and control human beings. Basically, if you don't use this toothpaste or this underarm deodorant or eat this food or buy this car, you won't get this sexy woman or this happy lifestyle, is basically the implied element. And they're also using, they're manipulating us at the sex hormones as well with that same element, and really selling these ideas of beauty and perfection on one level, and then giving you the complete bamboozlement of selling you garbage as the end result of this beauty over here. So the dysfunction goes far and wide and deep inside of our culture, to the point where you have beautiful women like the Kardashian girls that set out as teenagers with a certain level of beauty. What is beauty? It's been researched. It is a certain level of symmetry in your genetics and how you show up, and or the je ne sais quoi, or joie de vivre, as the French would say, your zest for life, and the way you carry yourself. And so if we're being bombarded by these dysfunctional images, manipulated to sell products that are antithetical to life on Earth itself, then what you're going to see as an end result are human beings getting caught up in this in the world. And I live in Los Angeles, what I like to call the City of Angels, but there is a lot of dysfunction here, especially when you go into Beverly Hills, which I energetically cannot handle whatsoever, because you have all the plastic surgery, the boob jobs, the facelifts, and all this fake elements loaded down with all the material items on top of it, and there is no soul, and it's vibrationally inept, or vibrationally starving, basically, energetically starving. And so so the way that gets caught up, and then also it's also of the playing of I'm better than you, in the competitive nature, which is a divisive nature in our society. And so you're looking at, I'm better than you. My tits are more perky than you. I have better, material clothing items than you. So I'm going to put myself on an energetic pedestal, and then you're going to have to deal with that. And if you're looking at a male, and, I've boiled things down to, baseline, and then I go big picture on everything. Nature's first law is self-preservation. So procreation, and at the hormonal level, biochemical level, human beings just want to get laid. The sooner we can face that and really honor that and start investigating a little bit deeper on the, what human sexuality is, and the potential spiritual element to it, once we go deeper into it, once we get honest with our genitalia, once we get honest with our body image, then we can carry on to the spiritual element, because that is actually the jump-off point, the apex. If you study sexual kung fu and tantra and all these other elements, and we understand that the human body is amazingly beautiful, and the feminine body, that's why we all go crazy. The curves of a woman drive me crazy, man. And it's like, and naturally so. And so, but what do we have? We've got pornography, driving the internet. Actually, pornography has driven a lot of things, and they've taken that pornography elements and brought that into advertising, brought it into music videos, and these types of things are used against people to manipulate and control them, and these stars or models that have certain genetic structure has been used to say, if you buy this or if you do this, you will get this. And biochemically, we all basically want to feel those chemicals flowing through our body, the oxytocin, the testosterone. And the corporations know this. And so when you go out onto the street, especially in Hollywood, you get all this air of like, oh, I'm so stuck up, and you've got to either pay me. This is modern day prostitution. What man out there has enough capital? Because hunting and gathering is basically based on, what kind of car you drive, and your ability to rake in natural resources, basically. And so, and if you don't have that type of capital, well, you're not going to get laid. And so it's this whole real dysfunctional game that is based on virtually nothing. It's just someone else's ideas. And we're all paying the price for it through unconsciousness. So when I go out in the world, nothing is more disheartening and upsetting than when I see a beautiful woman and I engage to talk to her. What turns me on the most is really consciousness. Once I get past my own hormonal elements, the pheromones, and the other attractive elements of the female species, I like to engage the mind. Hey, where is this human being at? And nothing is more, disempowering or more of a turnoff to get an unconscious woman or an unconscious human being, for that matter, to be spouting nonsense or energetic idiocy. And so that just gets to be a mind-boggling turnoff, and it's something that's so ugly. I mean, nothing can be more pretty than a woman that's deemed necessarily maybe a little overweight or not in the best fashion, but she holds herself a certain level. And you'll see this with a lot of the Eastern European women. I have quite a few friends on Facebook, and for some reason, that level of materialism hasn't penetrated that culture that deeply. And maybe that's because they didn't have television until recently. And so you'll see that. They don't have the nice clothes, but they've taken care of their instrument well because they've been poor. They've grown their own food. Their grandmothers have taught them about herbs and other forms of natural healing because they can't afford, the drugs and the methodologies of allopathic dysfunction. And so what you see in the Eastern Europeans is this je ne sais quoi, this certain element of beauty, and it's not hoity-toity or phony or fake. It just is. And it's so sweet, and these women are often considered poor, like, if you match it up in the material element. And so, I just went off on a big rant.
No, I think it was beautiful because the thing is, it is so much bigger than just a woman that's struggling with how her body looks. It goes so much deeper than that, and I think that's where you really, you took that to see that there's so much more to it. And I really like where you were going with it as well, in the respect that I'd like to ask a question that maybe you can direct to any woman in particular that's watching or going to watch this video, and maybe she is struggling with accepting herself and loving herself on a physical, emotional, spiritual level. If you could give her one message to take away, from a male's perspective on the topic, what would you like a woman to take away to maybe meditate on or contemplate?
I'd like everybody to realize that we are all children of God. We were all once a baby. You look at a baby picture, and people think, oh, it's a baby, so cute, so nice, so loving. And we grow up and we forget we were that baby. And so we are all an expression of beauty, an expression of God, if you will, if that terminology doesn't turn you off. We all have that seed of beauty, of essence, of the Creator inside of us. And it's not a uniform package. Go out into nature. Go out and look at a bed of roses. Not every rose looks the same. Sometimes the ugly ones smell the best. Who stops and smells the roses? I do. And so you have to remember that we're energetic beings first, and energetically we have our own energy, our own signature, and that energetic has its own beauty and a match for something or someone else out there. Even the dysfunction can be an energetic match to help people understand and grow another way. And so crisis and opportunity are the same term in the Chinese language. And so we have to look at our own dysfunction and look at that, we flip that over and look at it a different way and find the silver lining in that. And so beauty is in everyone, and nothing is more beautiful than someone who is in touch with their essence, with their soul, with their knowing. My advice to people out there is decolonize your mind. Turn off your television. Ask yourself the deeper questions. Why do I think what I think? Why do I do what I do? Where did this idea of beauty come from? Rip your clothes off and get in front of that mirror and be honest with yourself. Who do you want to be? Who are you? Who is that person? Who is that child of God inside of there? Let that essence come out and let that flourish. All the structures, let me tell you, I take you down to the Amazon. whether you drink ayahuasca or not, you're going to be sweating 90% humidity. You're going to try and hold on to your, Western beauty and your hairdo and this, that, and other thing, but your clothes are going to get wet and your hair's going to get wet and, you're going to look different. And, and at the end of the day, there's not a lot of mirrors down there and you're just going to have to deal with yourself. You're going to come down to your essence. And, that brings up another good point. I talked about the Eastern European. You want to really feel sensuality? Go to the jungle. Feel the women in the jungle. They're so amazingly beautiful. And there's a hot element about them, but they are so innocent. They are so very innocent. And it's that innocence that has beauty within it. It's that, unknown, the divine feminine. My advice is read as much as you can and educate yourself as much as you can on the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, because it's those that we should, it would be in our best interest to look at, because that's where the true beauty resides. When you can allow that divine nature to come out of you, it's just going to exude a certain level of beauty and it's going to attract automatically, just like a flower. And so, decolonize the mind, all the Western stuff that we've been programmed, all the commercials, every last Disney program. That's why my children are in Waldorf school, Rudolf Steiner. That type of input into a little child overwhelms them, excites their nervous system. And Disney knows this. They hire the best neuroscientists, the best child psychologists to penetrate and brand the interior of a human mind. And the corporations, they know this, and the drug companies know this, and that's why the television commercials have models and actors running through nature. Just take this pill and you will be this person too. And if you know anything about holistic health and have any clients at all, one of the most debilitating things is people getting on pharmaceutical drugs, and it's not usually one, it's usually, I think on average, 15. And those toxic elements store up in the body. And so you want to talk about the opposite of beauty? Let's talk about ugly. Let's start pumping what's being promoted through the material world and through the economy, and let's start putting that and ingesting and interfacing that into our energetic body. And lo and behold, what do we have? We have true ugliness. I like to say when I'm teaching nutrition, most people want to know, what do I eat? What do I eat? Vegan, paleo, there's all these diet paradigms that people's heads are just spinning on. But the fact of the matter is, eat whatever you want as long as it's real food. I don't like to put people in boxes until they're ready to understand that this food might not make you feel good. So in the beginning, eat whatever you want as long as it's real food. If you're eating commercial food and you're eating genetically engineered food and GMOs, the ugly stick is not far behind. Trust me on that. You add to that chemicalized makeup, you add to that chemicalized soaps and detergents and other things that have parabens in it that clog the lymph, the largest organ in the body, and the body starts to get clogged up, and lo and behold, they're ripping apart the tumors and finding these plastic elements and these preservatives that they're putting in all these products. Lo and behold, it's in the women's breast cancer tumors, in the toxicological report. So you want to be ugly, then take the garbage. If you want to be beautiful, then find your essence and extricate yourself from the garbage mentally and, of course, physically, whatever you're slathering on your body. The matter is you are beautiful. Period.
Exactly. I love it.
Even in the biggest level of dysfunction, you are still a soul in a human flesh vehicle experiencing this life on earth. I mean, what could be more beautiful? Even if you're a lower level soul that is just here to learn. I mean, this is a magical realm, this planet Earth, and so the experience alone is beautiful. So it's almost like you can't fail. I say that, and then I look at stuff like the Kardashians, which is all based on beauty, tits, and ass.
Yeah.
Again, back to the sexual hormones. But what's it turned into? It's turned into complete dysfunction. It's like what Paul Chek talks about the bodybuilding. Bodybuilding used to be a health nut club.
Yeah.
And now it's completely turned into a disease. Well, the Kardashians started out as admiring beautiful women and what they were doing. And now what it's turned out to is, they're getting butt injections and lip injections and liposuction and we don't even see that behind the scenes, what they look, without makeup, everything's super controlled. And then lo and behold, even take it to the next level. Bruce Jenner is now getting his genitalia cut off, and this whole transgenderism thing is, and this dysfunction is heralded, at least at the level of, let's just accept this. And okay, I don't mind accepting where everybody's head trip is at. Okay, that is what it is. But this isn't normal. This isn't like cool, like that's cool. No, what's cool is that I'm 50 and I look great. That's what's cool. And if you want true health and beauty, then it's a good time to start studying holistic health principles and aligning yourself with life affirmative elements, because that's what's going to give you, long-term soul connection. It's going to give you, true beauty. Once, you get older, let's face it, everyone ends up looking pretty ugly. My friend made a movie called How to Live Forever. Side effects may vary. Jack LaLanne was in it, all these centurions. He went to, Okinawa and Vilcabamba and studied all these people. But eventually, the fungus takes over, and I don't care if you're, 90 or 110, you end up looking like a bag of, like microbes are coming home to roost. Is basically, the scenario. And we don't live forever, physically, or at least we haven't advanced that level of development in consciousness right now. That doesn't mean it's impossible. However, death is a part of life too. I think most people forget that. And at the edge of fear, if you go to the root, all fear is fear of death. And so most people, and that's another thing that they're manipulating and using against us with fear is, with the stress hormones. People are afraid of ISIS. They're afraid of terrorism. They're afraid of this thing, coming home to roost. And so again, manipulation and control of governments and corporations that want to sell you an idea or a product. And so, when we dig a little bit deeper, and we accept death and that we're all going to die, maybe then we can start, examining our life and living a life worth living that is beautiful, that is full of beauty, joy, love, and these, these elements that everyone's searching for anyhow.
So I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on this topic. What did you take away from Troy's interview today? If you like what you see, make sure that you hit subscribe. I put new videos up every Monday.